So I'm gonna do my NFL picks for week number two. I'll do the rest of them here for week number two. So yeah, hopefully next week I'm able to do a one video for week number three. Hopefully, but um yeah, I just honestly week one I had audio issues. Week two, was not really good for me this past week. I had a pretty bad week, not gonna lie, but things are getting better for me. So, that's the reason why I have not made any videos because, it's been a little bit of I've been going through a little bit of a down time right now, but things are getting better. So, for week number two, so the first game we're gonna be predicting is the Jaguars and the Bengals. Both teams are 1-0. Jaguars, they beat the Panthers, and the Bengals, they beat the Browns barely. And obviously, the Bengals are going to win this game. I do think that the Bengals will get off to a good start because the past two seasons they've been off to a pretty slow start, and they did not make the playoffs the past 2 years. I do, you look at this Bengals team; they're a really good team, man. They do have good receivers like Jamar Chase, and they do have really good receivers on that team. Joe Burrow, really good quarterback. But they need to have a good start, and I think this is a really good opportunity for them to really beat the Jaguars. Obviously, the Jaguars, they're not really much a good team this season. I don't think they're gonna make the playoffs, but you know the Bengals, they have a good offense, good quarterback, good receivers. And obviously the Jaguars, they do have Travis Hunter on that team. So, this will be interesting to see how this game goes on Sunday. Next up, we got the Giants and the Cowboys. Yeah, both teams are. I don't think they're not gonna do much this season. The Cowboys, they lost Parsons, of course. They did not. They kept the game close against the Eagles on Thursday night. But I do think this could be a game that the Giants could win. I'm gonna say the Giants win this game. I'm not like this season, man. The Cowboys, they're not going to. This team doesn't look like a playoff team for me for the Cowboys, but I think the Giants, they have Russell Wilson as their quarterback. Honestly, I don't think he's really that good um, anymore, but you know, I'm gonna go with the Giants in this game. So we got the Bears and the Lions. I do think that the Lions are gonna win this game. Chicago, they had the game. They had the game, but they lost to the Vikings. Like I thought the Bears were gonna get off to a 1-0 start. Obviously, the Vikings. I did not thought the Vikings were gonna win that game. I was not really too, I wasn't really too high on JJ McCarthy. I thought this was going to be a season that I thought in this game this was going to be a game that would be. I thought the game against the Bears and the Vikings were going to be a game that Tanner Williams would prove that he could be the quarterback for the future for the Bears, but I don't know. I don't know how. Let me see his stats, man. I gotta see his stats. Um, but like but I do think the Lions, they got beat by the Packers. Obviously, the Packers, they're off to a 2-0 start now. That Packers team looks really good. Also with the Lions, they look really good. But yeah, Cam Williams only threw for one touchdown in that game against the Vikings. But I think the Lions are gonna get a win here and go 1-1. Next up, we got the Titans and the Rams and the Titans. I'm gonna go with the Rams. Obviously, the Titans they lost against the Broncos. The Broncos did not play that well in that game, but the Rams they played well. They played really well against the Texans, and it shows that that team looking really good this season. And I do think that the Rams should get the win. And for Cam Ward, the quarterback for the Titans, this is kind of a learning process for him. He's making his second start of his career in this game. So I'll go with the Titans, Patriots, and Dolphins. What happened to the Dolphins, man? They got absolutely smoked by the Colts. But for the Patriots, they lost to the Raiders, and I do think the Patriots should win this game. The Dolphins, what the hell happened to them, man? I don't know. I'm not sure what happened to them, man, because they just got beat. They just got beat badly against the Colts, and they need to bounce back like crazy. But I think that the Patriots should win this game. We got the Niners and the Saints. Gotta go with the Niners. Honestly, what the hell is going on with this Niners team? They cannot even go a season without having injuries. Like this Niners team has always been freaking injury prone, pretty much for like the last like 5 to 6 years. Like this team is capable of making the playoffs and making a deep run, but the team cannot stay healthy. Brock Purdy looking like he's not gonna play. George Kittle probably not. Obviously, he's out. I don't know. I don't know for how long, but man, this Niners team is so injury prone. Maybe I could see the Saints win this game. It's a possibility, but I think this game is gonna be much closer because yeah, this Niners team they just can't get a break, and obviously people kind of do want Kyle Shanahan fired, but like the dudes have taken to two Super Bowls, but they lost both of them. But it's just this Niners team is always like injury prone all the time. It seems like when a team is healthy, they do really good. But if they get injured, if they get a lot of players injured, man, this team just doesn't look too good. Next up, we got the Bills and the Jets. I gotta go with the Bills. Yeah, man, the Bills made a crazy comeback in that game against the Ravens. And for the Jets, I thought they played pretty well. I thought Justin Fields. I feel like he was doing pretty alright in that game against the Steelers. That was a high that was a good offensive game for the Jets in that game against the Steelers. But man, I think the Bills, they're gonna win this game. But I think the Jets played really well last week, but they did not got the win in that game. Next up, we got the Seahawks and the Steelers. I'm gonna have to pick the Steelers to win this game. Aaron Rodgers looks good. He beat his former team, so go with the Steelers. Browns and Ravens. I got the Ravens. Yeah, I think the Ravens are gonna bounce back after that collapse in week one. The Ravens should have won that game, but the Bills just came back and and the Ravens they just choked that game. We got the Broncos and the Colts. I know the Colts had a really good game in week one. They just beat the shit out of the Dolphins. But for the Broncos, they looked really shaky. They looked really shaky in that game. The offense was just not clicking in that game. But I'm gonna say the Broncos get the win. They won against the Titans, but that wasn't really the best performance by the Broncos. A win is a win, but the Broncos could have done much better in that game. But I do think that the Broncos will win this game. We got the Panthers and the Cardinals. I gotta go with the Cardinals. Panthers, I don't know. They lost against the Jaguars, and I kind of wonder about Bryce Young. He's probably not the answer for with the Panthers. And then we got the Super Bowl rematch. Yes, the Super Bowl rematch here. Super, a rematch of Super Bowl 57 and 59. And man, I don't know if that I don't want to mention that person's name. I don't want this person to be at the game. Please, no. I don't want that person to be at the game at all. If that person is at the game, I will lose my mind. Please. Like if that person is at the game, then they're just gonna talk about that person all game long instead of focusing on the game. I hope they don't talk about that person. I know the Chiefs lost to the Chargers in Brazil. The Eagles, they got the win against the Cowboys, but I think the Chiefs. I don't see how the Chiefs can go 0-2. I do think the Chiefs will win this game, man. I don't see how. It'd be really weird to see the Chiefs go 0-2, but I think my gut feeling goes to the Chiefs to win this game. But I think this should be a good game. Obviously, the Eagles beat them in Super Bowl 59, and the Chiefs beat them in Super Bowl 57. So this should be a good game. And then we got Michael Penix Falcons going against JJ McCarthy Vikings, and we'll see. Obviously JJ McCarthy got his first win as a starter, and for the Falcons, they should have won against the Buccaneers, but I kind of wanted the Falcons to beat the Buccaneers, but I think the Falcons should. Well, I'm actually gonna pick the Falcons to beat the Vikings in that game, and then um, we got the Buccaneers and the Texans. Buccaneers just won just won against the Falcons and the Texans. They lost. I'm gonna go with the Texans. There's two double headers. There's two games on Monday night. There's a double header, and then we got the Chargers and the Raiders. I'm gonna go with the Chargers. I think they looked really good against the Chiefs. Justin Herbert looks really good. I think he's gonna do a lot of good stuff this season after the way he played. I know it's just one game, but hopefully, um, he's able to. No, not hopefully. I'm a Raiders fan. I shouldn't say hopefully, man. What the hell, man? Should not be saying that shit here. But I hope Justin Herbert struggles in that in this game, man. I really hope, man. But the Raiders, they look good. Geno Smith looks not bad. This should be another good one here on Monday night. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and like this channel. See you guys later. Bye.